We learned a little bit more about the future of Assassin's Creed Valhalla and the future of Assassin's Creed in general during the Ubisoft financial meeting. What can we expect in the next year or so? It's maybe different than you might expect. It's actually pretty interesting, although it could go either way. So in this video, I will give you an update on what we know about the future of Assassin's Creed. A like on the video would of course really help me out. And let's go. Okay, let's start with some Valhalla stuff. And Ubisoft already said before that Valhalla was the biggest launch of any AC ever. But now we learned during the investor call that Assassin's Creed 3 is still the fastest selling Assassin's Creed game in terms of units sold. Like they shipped 12 million units of Assassin's Creed 3 in 2012, the year it came out. It was 2 extra weeks on the market though compared to Valhalla. But yeah, Ubisoft basically confirmed that Valhalla did not sell as many copies, but that they still made more money on Valhalla because of higher digital sales and extra content purchases. The daily users for Valhalla were up twofold compared to Odyssey in the same period after launch. Odyssey had a slower start though, but this of course still impressive. And also a cool thing to once again hear is that Valhalla will have a significantly longer and stronger post-launch content roadmap with free and paid content compared to Odyssey. So if we look at the timeline for the support of Odyssey, then we know that Valhalla will at least significantly exceed that, and Odyssey's post-launch kinda ended in October, so 1 year after the release. In September we still had the Discovery Tour, one more Lost Tales of Greece mission, and some other content, and then the month after that they did like the daily epic events, but nothing new. The post-launch trailer for Valhalla shows the first year of content, so now we basically learned that there will be a year 2 as well that likely continues for a good bit into 2022. You would think with just some free updates here and there, because the season pass expansions are of course all slated for this year, and we now learned that that first expansion, the Wrath of the Druids, will not be coming before April. Ubisoft said early spring, so I always thought April for the Druids expansion, but I know some of you hoped for March. Well, Ubisoft now published their release slate for between January and March, and there's no mention of a new AC expansion at all. Like the things you see here are all either part of a season pass or substantial releases like the Watch Dogs Online multiplayer that should be coming very soon. So yeah, we heard it multiple times, bigger post-launch than Odyssey, more content, but we haven't really seen anything of that yet. So I really hope that the River Raids launches this month and that it's something substantial, and that also means the kickoff of new content every month. Something that I think is possible. Now let's look at the future, the other AC games, and also the Assassin's Creed franchise in general. There was this one quote from the financial call that got picked up by many people. We see it here in the title from this Games Radar article. Ubisoft praises transition to RPG model. And they totally did. Origins and Odyssey namely performed super well during 2020, and the Assassin's Creed franchise had the best performance ever for a Ubisoft brand during the first 9 months of a financial year, which in this case started April 2020. Something interesting they mentioned, and that I also tweeted about, is that Odyssey had more daily average users in December 2020 than in December 2019, which is nuts for a game that launched in 2018. So this once again shows that the RPG model is working for Assassin's Creed. More people are buying these games after launch and playing them for longer as well. And for some people this kinda came as a surprise, but really, the franchise is more successful than ever. In terms of money for Ubisoft, of course. But yeah, totally expect that the big new mainline games will build upon this Valhalla model with even bigger worlds, more things to do in those worlds, RPG elements, etc, etc. I do hope they look at the main story length though. It would have been better if some of the story arcs in Valhalla were not forced on you, but optional instead. Like, sure, give me a ton to do in the world, but don't force it on me to be able to get to the credits. So the Valhalla model seems to be the way forward for the full-priced Assassin's Creed games, but the future is way more nuanced than that. Because the big trend right now, and this became really clear after listening to all the investor calls from all the major publishers, is that having your biggest franchise in just one segment, so core gaming, and with only one business model, doesn't cut it anymore. They need to be everywhere to reach a bigger audience, and Ubisoft plans to do that with a big AAA Assassin's Creed mobile game in collaboration with the biggest tech company in China, Tencent. And we actually got a first look at this game thanks to Daniel Ahmed. Access the Animus found even more art, and this seems to be from a Tencent job listing page that you see right here. So this is going to be an Assassin's Creed game set in China from the looks of it. We don't have any more details other than that it's likely releasing in soft launch in early 2022. Because that is namely when Ubisoft plans to launch the first mobile game in collaboration with Tencent, and soft launch means that it's only out for a select group to test features and then add new content up until the official release. I'm not even sure if this will launch outside China, but you would think so, right? Ubisoft of course already has some mobile games, but those are mostly smaller titles. Now this new strategy with Tencent is about launching AAA quality games to expand existing franchises. So yes, this could mean that the game is like on par with console releases or PC titles. Like, we see that with multiple mobile games nowadays, and Genshin Impact is of course a great example of this. It's a AAA console quality title that you can also play on PC and mobile. So maybe this Assassin's Creed also launches on console and PC, we don't know. It seems to be mobile only, but again, hard to say. Also, I would not be surprised if we saw a big free-to-play Assassin's Creed as well. Warzone for Call of Duty is massive, and reaching new players who maybe left Call of Duty a while back or would have never bought a Call of Duty game for full price and can now jump in for free, but then are still considering buying the new Call of Duty for perks in Warzone. Next to that, Activision also has Call of Duty Mobile, which is reaching an even broader audience and doing insanely well too. I will go more in depth on this and Ubisoft's future strategy in the upcoming Sunday video, because it's really an industry-wide trend that we're seeing right now to have your big franchises on as many platforms as possible, and I think Ubisoft for Assassin's Creed is going in that direction too. In July 2018, a higher up at Ubisoft noted that thanks to the next-gen consoles, we could see an Assassin's Creed game where we would be able to, in the same world, have several historical periods, for instance, and use the Animus to travel from one to the other. So maybe they add new historical time periods over time, like this would fit a free-to-play title that gets supported for multiple years, way more than a regular Assassin's Creed. And maybe free-to-play is where we see a multiplayer component again, and then let the big full-price games from the Valhalla team stay single-player. Like, there are really a ton of possibilities. And you might wonder where that Sofia game we talked about not so long ago might land. And well, this could be delayed to fall 2022 if it was indeed planned for an early 2022 release. Again, I will go more in depth on Ubisoft's future release slate in the big Sunday video. So yeah, right now we know that Valhalla is getting support into 2022. It will be bigger than Odyssey. The RPG formula is here to stay, and we will likely see the soft launch of a AAA Assassin's Creed mobile game in early 2022. And also, a free-to-play console-quality title is totally not out of the realm of possibilities. Again, more in-depth analysis this Sunday, so I hope you tune in for the weekly Sunday video. In between that, of course, some cool Valhalla content. Hopefully we get an update on the River Raid soon. When we do, I will of course let you know here. So totally subscribe for way more Assassin's Creed content if you haven't already. A like on the video would really help me out. And you can check out my previous video on those recent new AC rumors by clicking on the screen. For now though, I will speak to you next time, and goodbye.